In this video, I'll give you the top waiver wire players to target heading into week 13. I'm Jim Coventry of RotoWire. All right, let's go with the quarterbacks. Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams has probably dropped in a lot of leagues. He's averaging 286 passing yards and 52 rushing yards since the Bears switched offensive coordinators in week 11. Played Minnesota this week, had a big game. Tough remaining schedule. But look, Williams getting the ball out quickly. Like I said, he's running. And right now, the weapons are kind of clicking. DJ Moore is being used in the screen game. Caleb Williams is back in the streaming discussion, and you should roster him if you need a quarterback. Cooper Rush, got to look at him at this point. A pair of touchdown passes with 247 yards against Washington. The prior week against the Texans, 351 yards and a touchdown. He's getting the ball to CeeDee Lamb as much as possible, finding the tight end. Look, you need a quarterback too. Rush is moving up the ranks with each game he plays, and he plays on Thanksgiving. Next, Tommy DeVito of the Giants. Not the same quarterback he was last year. Not great, certainly. Throws for 189 yards, but runs for 32 against the blitz-happy Buccaneers. That was not an easy matchup, and yet DeVito looked okay, getting the ball to Malik Neighbors. Neighbors had a drop. The team did score from the 1-yard line on a run. It didn't help DeVito. But that said, DeVito, like I said, he looks better, and you're in a 2-quarterback league. I don't think he's a total loss. I think he's somebody you might be able to use, especially if your other quarterback is injured or on a bye. Let's go to running back. Amir Abdullah. Look, we know that Alexander Madison and Zamir White missed week 12. If they missed extended time, Abdullah handled 8 rushes, 6 targets, caught 5 of them, 65 scrimmage yards, scores a touchdown against the tough Denver defense. If Abdullah's given a job for a while, he's a useful PPR running back 2 option for volume if you're stuck. Also, Jalen Wright. Not right now, not productive, but he has 5 to 7 carries in each of the last 4 games. Now, Raheem Mostert, the last 3 games, pretty much been relegated out. He's moved directly behind Wright. Mostert seeing less than 15% of the snaps, very few touches. Wright doesn't have big value now, but if Devon Achane happens to miss time, Wright seems to be the player that has the best shot of moving into the volume role, which could be some catches as well. All right, next, look, the Denver backfield changes every week, it seems right now, and Jaleel McLaughlin was the guy. Now, Javonte Williams had 1 more carry than McLaughlin, but McLaughlin had 44 rushing yards. Javonte had like 0. So I can't tell you what's going to happen in this backfield, but if you got to collect pieces and you need somebody to throw in a lineup, take a shot at McLaughlin, because who knows what this backfield will look like in 2 weeks. Finally, Jeremy McNichols of the Washington Commanders. So Austin Eckler at the very end of the game gets a concussion on a kick return. Who knows what his status is for next week. Also, Brian Robinson dinged up an ankle early in the week 12 game, did return, but only saw 5 carries. So we don't know what the status of the ankle is as of this recording. Therefore, Jeremy McNichols would be pressed into a volume role if one or the other running backs miss. And if both miss, Chris Rodriguez could see work as well. If you enjoy videos like this, please consider hitting the like button and subscribe to the RotoWire Fantasy Football channel on YouTube. Also, you can check out all of RotoWire's fantasy football and other sport content and rankings, and you get a free 2-day trial. You don't even need a credit card. Go to rotowire.com/Jim, and you can check all of our content out. And again, you like it, join the team. If not, we're just happy you took a look and saw what we were all about. Let's move to wide receiver waivers. Adam Thielen of the Carolina Panthers returns from injured reserve, catches 3 passes for 57 yards, 2 for 44 early in that game, kind of faded away a bit, but he was seeing targets in the red zone, and he was interfered with in the end zone. He had a 2-point conversion, a penalty against the other team, so he is a very pivotal part of this offense. He does have a chemistry with Bryce Young. It's a sprint to the end of the season, should have fresh legs, so instant PPR value for Adam Thielen. Noah Brown of the Washington Commanders is next. Now, Noah Brown has at least 60 yards in 3 of Washington's last 5 games. Yeah, I know a Hail Mary was involved in there, but Brown's the clear number 2 receiver. He averaged 6.6 targets over the last 5 games. Again, not high octane, but if you need somebody to sub in, Brown has a shot. Nick Westbrook of Keenan, I know, 6 touchdowns in 7 games. That cannot keep up a blown coverage on a 38-yard touchdown against the Texans. But hey, some weeks it's a blown coverage, some weeks he wins contested in the end zone. That's not going to continue, but he is the number 2 option in the receiving game for Tennessee, and he's on the field all the time, and there are about 4 targets five times in the last 6 games. Devon Vele of the Broncos is next. And quietly in the last 2 games, Vele has a 66 and a 60-yard game. He's primarily a slot, but he really is the number 2 option for Bo Nix, despite playing that slot role. So Vele, look, they're leaning on him. He appears to be a good-looking rookie, so give him a shot. Calvin Austin of the Pittsburgh Steelers, averaging 4 targets over the last 4 games. In 2 of those games, he has at least 14.4 PPR points. In the other games, very, very little. Floor is low, but Austin does appear to be carving out a role in the passing attack. Again, not a high floor guy at all and not a high ceiling, but again, somebody who could produce. Marvin Mims of the Denver Broncos, yes, we're back to Denver, has seen his role increase in the Broncos offense. Now, the last 2 games, 7 targets, 5 carries, not done a lot with the carries, but receiving wise, averaging 47 yards, like a 44 and a 49. They try to get him in space, use his speed. The floor could be 0, but again, they're trying to get him involved. If you need deep league help, he could be there. This one is basically off a good game. David Moore leads the Panthers with 81 yards and a touchdown against the Chiefs. Now, Jalen Coker was out with a quad injury, and they only have 4 receivers on the roster. They did elevate somebody to the practice squad, so they did have another receiver. But realistically, it's a tiny receiver room. If anybody in that room gets dinged up, if Coker misses another game, Moore's going to be on the field. Even as number 4, the team trails a lot. Moore has shown flashes over his career. I know he's not stuck anywhere, so consistency is an issue. But again, he could have a role if he gets more snaps on a regular basis. Finally, tight ends. Theo Johnson of the New York Giants, he has 6 targets in 3 straight games. And in each of those games, at least 7.7 PPR points. He's developing into a decent floor tight end too. He's not going to be much more than that. They're not going to score many touchdowns. Certainly, he's not going to be high in the priority in that area of the field. But again, tight end 2, you could do worse. I know Noah Gray, we got to bring him up. 4 touchdowns in the last 2 games. He's not getting a ton of targets, but the Chiefs do use him in the red zone. For whatever reason, Kelsey is kind of drifted off a bit. 6 for 62 for Kelsey in week 12. But Gray's a part of this offense. The offense is a little disjointed right now. But if you need somebody in the short term, ride him while he's hot. Could disappear at a moment's notice. But hey, it's here now.